Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and welcome, people. We hope you're hearing this because we've had gremlins in our system the past few weeks. So hopefully you'll be getting the show this week, and we'll be bringing you a review of Central Intelligence. I'm one of your co-hosts, Matt Foster, and as ever, I am joined by
Ian Loring. I'm in my kitchen and I'm pouring myself a Jack and Coke. This is the life.
Yes, that is the life. Ian, you are hitting the Jack and Coke hard again since your gallant return to it.
Mate, I've been up since 5:45 this morning. I did a 9k run at 6 o'clock this morning, damn it, so I fucking deserve this.
Jeez, man. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's brutal.
Wasn't the best wake up, I must say, but it's done. It's all good.
That's a hell of a Monday morning, that is. Yes, so we're going to bring you Central Intelligence Review. We probably will just quickly chat about Independence Day Resurgence, because we did record last week, but unfortunately the audio vanished, so we couldn't actually bring you that. So we'll probably just quickly cover that in the middle of what we've been watching, probably. We'll actually bring you some what we've been watching, and we might have some questions, we might not, and we'll probably go off on some tangents, I would say, as well at some point, I'm sure. Ian, is there anything that we need to discuss before we get into trailers?
I don't think so, no. I'm just going to give Lottie some pizza in the hope that she maybe goes away.
Yeah, trailers. Let's tell a bit of trailers.
Cool. So, yeah, I watched a few last night, actually, but I'm finding it hard to remember what they were. Viral. Which is a Blumhouse horror about a worm virus, which basically makes it a film I'll probably never watch because it's a bit icky for me. I'm a little, that would weird me out a bit, so I'm probably not going to get around to that. The Childhood of a Leader, which is the directorial debut of Brady Corbett.
All right.
Which looks really interesting. It basically seems to be about a kid who grows up to be some sort of fascist dictator, but it's about him as a kid. And I suppose it's like like nature or nurture. What makes them be evil, or is it something inside them or something? The trailer is really, really atmospheric, and the music in it is pretty great. Like, if it's any indication of the film, it could be either a pretentious mess or something really fucking impressive.
Yeah.
So there's that. And Why Him?
Yeah. Yes, I got this one.
Yeah. James Franco's interesting, isn't he? Because he spends so much time working on the really arty indie fare. And then every now and then he pulls the interview or Why Him.
Yeah, and you don't get the feeling like these are paycheck movies to him at all. These are things that he's chosen to do.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's just like, I really fancy working with Bryan Cranston. I'll do this.
I think that is literally what he does. Can I remember reading, when he did Homefront, the Statham one.
Yeah.
I remember seeing an interview about that, and they said, it's not what you would usually, the kind of film you would usually make. And his response to that was, well, I don't want to be somebody who makes a kind of film. I want to be somebody who makes whatever interests them. And this was a movie that was written by Sylvester Stallone and was starring Jason Statham. And they bothered to ask me if I liked the idea of it. And I thought, yes, I do like the idea of working on a Stallone script and a James Statham movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, and good on him. And I don't know, it looks all right. It's coming out in December, and I could see this being quite a good Christmas, New Year, chill for an hour and a half kind of thing. I'm up for it. Why not? It looks derivative, but when did that ever stop a film being all right?
Well, that's it. It looks like one of those where you watch it and going, looking at it going, do you know what? Even if that didn't have the people that were in it, I'd still watch it. So, isn't that just going to elevate it a little bit? That it's got Zoe Dutch, James Franco, and Bryan Cranston in it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. And do we know who's directing it? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I think it is. Let's have a look. See who it is. Why him? Let's have a look. Oh, fuck you, laptop. Yeah, I think John Hamburg. Hello?
Who did Meet the Parents?
Let's have a look. Was it? He did Meet the Parents?
Yeah, I think he did. And was it like Along Came Polly? Is it that guy?
I think it might be, actually, yeah. He did. He wrote Meet the Parents, directed Along Came Polly, and I Love You, Man, and also wrote Zoolander 2.
Okay, well, fine. That'll do.
Yeah, it's alright, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if there's something stronger that week, I will be watching the stronger thing. But if it's a quiet week, it'll do.
Yeah, if it's a thing that's on the week before Star Wars or the week after Star Wars, then I'll be watching it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think the last thing for me, Sully, which I despised American Sniper, as long-time listeners know, but I don't despise Clint Eastwood. It's just what the subject matter plus director made. I'm more interested in Sully now than I was, because it actually looks like there's more. I thought it was just going to be like, he was a great man, he was a great pilot, blah, 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 but it looks like there's something more to it. I mean, it'll probably turn out in the end, he's a great man, he's a great pilot, but it does look like there's maybe a little bit more question marks in the air.
Yeah, I mean, because the whole thing was the whole story, from what I understand from the brief bits that I read about it at the time, was that him and his co-pilot were saying one thing happened, but when they got the tests back, it actually said that wasn't what happened. And then the tower was also saying, look, we thought that what they said was happening. That's the readouts we've got, but now you've taken the plane and said that it wasn't that. But we thought it was, they thought it was, and then somebody else saying, we don't. And it all became a little bit like, right, who's right and who's wrong?
Yeah.
And this guy was always sort of saying, look, I acted the way that I acted at the time because I thought that was right. If you're now telling me that I wasn't, then okay. But nobody did die, but then again, shit, is that just luck or what's it? I think it could be a really interesting film, actually.
Yeah. I'm way more interested in it now than I was before the trailer, which I suppose is kind of the point of a trailer. So, yeah, no, fair play. I mean, it kind of looks like it's got that September, October, slightly prestige-y film thing going on, and I mean, by then we'll probably want something like that, so cool.
Yeah, you want something that's a little bit more sit down and think rather than sit down and entertain me.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, but yeah, no, that's it for me. But I thought good trailers this week, actually.
Yeah, I caught up with a couple of the ones. I caught the first trailer for the first proper full trailer for Bleed for this, the Miles Teller boxing movie.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I missed this. How is it?
It looks good. It very much sort of sets out the story that it's not a fully immersive boxing movie like something like Creed was, for instance.
Yeah.
Because it is the story based on a true story, but it's a guy who he gets injured in a car accident and basically told that he's never going to walk again, but decides that he doesn't for a walk again. He wants to fight again.
Jesus.
And it's that against that. So it looks like it could be good. Yeah, well, apparently, I mean, I remember reading a little bit about it. I first saw the teaser. He was basically told that they had to fuse his spine together, which would give him limited movement. And if they didn't, he'd probably be paralysed. But he was told if we do that, the slightest little knock, and it'll kick everything out of whack, and you will be paralysed. And he refused to have it done.
Wow.
So he's a tough motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, is that pig-headedness or is that courage? It's a fine line, I think, isn't it?
It's an absolute fine line. It's the stupidity of courage, I would say. You know, because it's just as easy for it to not work as it is for it to work. And the second trailer for Bad Moms, which, not fussed really. And the trailer for Hell or High Water, which looks very good, to be honest. It's the Chris Pine and Foster bank robbers one.
Yeah, I think I talked about the first trailer a little while back, actually.
Yeah.
It played canned, didn't it? Yeah.
So there's been some sort of decent stuff sort of coming out. We're starting to get towards the, I think most of the big summer trailers are out of the way now. We're starting to get towards the more the kind of like that September to October period. We're starting to get those trailers kind of eking through a little bit now. So moving on. Our feature review this week is of Central Intelligence, the Rawson Marshall Thuber.
Further, I think, but yeah, close. Yeah.
Film starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart, along with a few other people that you go, it's her and it's him, and they've turned up for cameos, which we'll come to because we are all spoilers all of the time.
Indeed.
Film starts in 1996. Where The Rock is in a fat suit and is embarrassed by some bullies who throw him out in front of the entire school, completely butt naked. And the only person who's nice to him is Kevin Hart, Calvin Joyner, who is like the king of the school, who gives him his Letterman jacket to cover his modesty. And then we fast forward 20 years to Kevin Hart's character is a accountant who's not really that thrilled with the way his life has turned out, even though it doesn't seem that bad. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson works for the CIA, but is kind of on the run. We'll get more into the plot as we go through. But Ian, Central Intelligence, what did you think?
I had a lot of fun with this. It's the story is certainly no great shakes, and I preferred it when The Rock was straight up weird in the first half of the film. I think they dial that down as it goes on. I had a very good time with it. I thought Kevin Hart was less screechy than he usually is, which was nice. I enjoyed the cameos. The Aaron Paul one I thought was interesting because I was a little... fair play. I didn't expect him coming back into it. I thought it was just a random, let's just get a famous person to be The Rock's partner for 10 seconds. So I was a little... I say the plot's no great shakes, but I didn't guess that he was the Black Badger. So maybe that's more a comment on me. I don't know. But, sorry, go on.
To be honest, once Aaron Paul was his partner, I did think, he's going to come back into it later.
Okay, fair enough. I just thought it was
he's done a blink and you'll miss it.
I just thought it was a random, like, Aaron Paul's his partner, and like just the way, like, I thought his thing was going to be like when The Rock's like, see you on the other side, he's like, I love that guy. I kind of thought that was just going to be his thing, but no, I think that The Rock is doing some MVP comedic work here. Some of the shit he says is fantastic. Sexy as dick. As soon as he came out with that, I was like, right, yeah, I'm in all the way. It's just very fun. Manages to just about not outstay its welcome. It's touch and go, I think, slightly with that. But yeah, I don't know. It was a very much sit down, relax, have some fun film, and I apparently there will be a sequel, and I'm really up for it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same, to be honest. I think it does not outstay its welcome, but I think it could have been polished up a little bit. Mm-hmm. It does get... Towards the end, I was going... It wasn't sort of the later end of the middle, I was going... I kind of want you to hurry up a little bit now. I'm not getting bored, but I'm on the cusp of getting worn out by it a little bit.
It's the Jason Bateman bit. I kind of understand why they're doing that for The Rock's character, but it's a little bit like, right, okay, so here's the 5 minutes where Jason Bateman is a dickhead, but it's not the gift where they're that's actually quite a turning point for his character. He's just a dick.
Yeah, there was little bits like that, I think, throughout where you just felt that it could have been polished up a little bit. I think that you said, I think the first half is a lot stronger than the second half. However, I think the first sort of once Kevin Hart kind of settled into his character a little bit, it got a little bit better, and because there was a good kind of like in the first 15-20 minutes when the punchline to literally every single Kevin Hart joke was, well, no, I'm black. And it was like, you've done that 3 or 4 times now. She did it with the 16 Candles, did it with Something's Name and something like that. And I did think a little bit like, is that going to be his go-to line? Every third joke is, no, I'm black. Because it got a little bit worn down by then. I love the fact that the Rock's character he wasn't playing a part.
Yeah.
He was just like that.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's the way that he is just a very, very sweet
Which I thought
guy.
was a fantastic way to kind of frame that character, because did you at some point he's going to... Oh, yeah, I lost you there.
No, sorry, go on.
Yeah, he's just a really nice guy who just happens to be in the CIA and happens to be really good at his job. And also the fact that they don't explain the fact that he just literally turns up places and just disappears. Really get acknowledged that much.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff, I liked how random that was. One thing, and I know the plot of this film you should not pull apart that much, but again, the Jason Bateman bit, why does he give him those transaction numbers? There's no reason why, because he's playing a joke on them and taking the piss out of them, but he still gives them those numbers anyway, and I don't get
why he do that.
Yeah, apart from the fact that they need it to move the plot along, but it's Central Intelligence, which, by the way, has the greatest tagline of the last several years. I mean, it just yes. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the fact that Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is just a nice, weird guy. It's awesome, and the guy's on fire. Like which is really interesting, because for a while there, it did kind of seem like he's not quite doing it, and I think it was around about Fast 5. Where he did that, and he did G.I. Joe Retaliation, and like he was deemed franchise Viagra, and then it just kind of seemed to kick off from there, where suddenly you put The Rock in your film and you're kind of guaranteed a certain amount. I mean,
because like you say, for a while it seemed like it might not happen for him.
Yeah. That I mean, it was because he did that. Like, he signed some sort of contract where he had to make, 5 films in a row that couldn't be rated R. So he did, The Tooth Fairy and Escape from Witch Mountain. I swear there was some others sprinkled in there, but where he was kind of weirdly trying to go for the family audience. And it's like, now he's just... But I mean, before that, he was in Doom, and he was in The Scorpion King, and it was either meathead action all the way, one quadrant, teenage boy, or family audience. And it seems like now he's managed to actually get there. And while I don't think you're ever going to see The Rock winning an Oscar...
No.
It does feel like he's found his thing, but there's enough variety within the thing.
The thing is, he is now, quite simply, the biggest movie star on the planet. He's that. He's a proper... In an age where we've gone down the road of being blockbuster orientated, and the actual... The film or the studio or the effects or whatever have become the stars. Dwayne Johnson has kind of put himself in that position of going, no, we've got a genuine movie star, and something like Central Intelligence absolutely proves that, because Central Intelligence is the type of thing where if this was an Adam Sandler movie, it would have bombed at the box office, but it didn't.
Well, The Do-Over is not dissimilar.
No, it's not. It's not dissimilar,
and
it's
that's
not dissimilar
Netflix.
in terms of.
And if that came out in the cinema, it wouldn't have done well. You know, I think you've got an example there to prove your point.
Exactly, yeah. And, you know, something like, for instance, San Andreas, with somebody else as a lead there, you know, that film could have sort of bombed, because, again, that was a blockbuster, not a huge tentpole blockbuster, but no way you cannot say it wasn't a blockbuster. It was a blockbuster that had it didn't come from a young adult novel, it didn't come from a child's book, it wasn't a remake of an old Disney movie, and it wasn't a superhero movie. Yet it still pulled in near $500 million.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Sorry.
Yeah, he with Dwayne Johnson, is you get Dwayne Johnson as well. You get him doing the promotional work for it, and he puts it in, and he's a nice guy, and he's charismatic, and he goes on everything, and he will literally just go right in a PR machine mode. And I mean, the PR for Central Intelligence has been fantastic, and it has got people to the point of going, do you know what? They're great in interviews, them two together. Why don't I want to go and see an hour and 45 minutes of that?
That's exactly it. And I mean, it's going back to San Andreas. I mean, I remember when that came out, and it did seem like this is the test for The Rock, because, like you say, it's not a franchise, and he did it. He opened a film, and he opened it well. And I think in the US with Central Intelligence, you have the Kevin Hart audience as well, which there is an audience for Kevin Hart over here, but it's not nearly as big as the audience in the US. And yet over here, I think it did $3 million over a 5-day weekend, which, considering you also had Ab Fab the movie, which is for a different audience.
And The Secret Life of Pets.
Obviously, but then also The Secret Life of Pets. Yeah, exactly. You had some very, very, very heavy hitters around.
And let me tell you, I went to the cinema and I went to the 10:35 screening at Central Intelligence on Sunday morning. And usually, for anything, literally anything, going at that time of morning on a Sunday is quiet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Central Intelligence was busy, because it wasn't busy, but there was a fair amount of people in there. I'd say it was maybe a third full, which isn't bad for that time of morning, and it wasn't on one of the really small screens. It wasn't on one of the huge ones, it was on one of the medium-sized screens. But the place was rammed, The Secret Life of Pets.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely, every till was on, and every till was about 5 or 6 people deep.
No, I mean that's not a surprise. I mean, to be fair, if Lottie was a little bit older, I'd be taking her to see The Secret Life of Pets on a Sunday morning. You know what I mean? It's kind of catnip for kids that age, and it's not a surprise. But it just, again, it's further evidence of The Rock, and like you said, he works the shit out of it. Like, he does as much promotion as God gives, but he doesn't do it in a way that I suppose social media is kind of a factor in this, but he doesn't do it in the way that Schwarzenegger used to just be like, this film is the greatest film I've ever done. The next film, film is the greatest film I've ever done. You know, he just seems to have fun with it.
Yeah, he does. He seems to really be enjoying what he's doing, really, and enjoying being in the position he's in. You get the feeling where for Dwayne Johnson, where he knows he's a smart guy. I think he knows I've got 8 years maybe of been on top
Yeah.
And he'll want to get in, get that done. And if it starts once it starts, the movie aren't making as much money, I don't think he's going to end up going down the route of straight to DVD or just doing, going into studios and saying, no, yeah, but don't you forget, I gave you San Andreas and San Andreas 2 and 5 different fast movies. He does seem like the kind of guy who's very much, he's loving the ride, but when it starts to come to an end, he'll hop off nicely and go, do you know what, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I mean, you'd certainly like to think so. And I'm moving it back to the film slightly, just because we've gone on one of our lovely detours, which I do like. But I would very much like Central Intelligence to have a strong portion of Melissa McCarthy. The Rock and Melissa McCarthy as a couple together would be fascinating. I want to see more of that. Oh no. Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, where did I cut off?
You were saying about Melissa McCarthy, but it's saying that you'd like to have a strong Melissa McCarthy presence.
Yeah, I would very much like the sequel to have a fair bit of The Rock and Melissa McCarthy together, because that was some weird chemistry, which I think could be very funny.
Yeah, you could definitely see it being something where that could happen. Because the thing is, they've done really well to have done as well as they've done with this movie, as is now. When you go to the next one, you've got to take it up to the next level. Mm-hmm. And I think throwing Melissa McCarthy in there, that takes it up to the next level. And it now, you're broadening the scope of what you can go for, especially if the sequel to this comes out, let's say, next year. Because then you're going to have, Dwayne Johnson off the back of this, whilst you've also got the next Fast movie coming out. Mm-hmm. And you'll also have Melissa McCarthy being where she is now, plus the added bonus of her Ghostbusters as well. Mm-hmm. Because, whether or not people like that movie or not, it's going to make a lot of money. There's no denying that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I've got a feeling they probably will strike while the iron is hot. The next year after, at a push, there'll be Central Intelligence too. But then again, he's very busy. Is The Rock, isn't he? So who knows?
He is. He's got. I think he's just coming to the. Well, he's finished Baywatch, I believe, mm-hmm. And they've just started Fast 8.
Yes.
He put a photo on Instagram of him flexing in front of a car.
Which is what we want.
Pardon?
Which is what we want.
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah. I mean, it's great. I loved the fact that the unicorn thing was never explained in Central Intelligence. The fact that he had a unicorn t-shirt on and he was just like, yeah, I really like unicorns.
Yeah, no, well, he was like, well, they're magical, aren't they? Yeah, man, they're really magical. And
they're the most dangerous animal on the planet.
Yeah. That'll do.
Yeah. I'm definitely not shit with it. It seems like we've not talked about that much because there's not actually that much to talk about, because a lot of the film, quite literally, is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just telling Kevin Hart how great he is while just looking really impressed.
Yeah.
It's definitely not shit.
Definitely not shit.
And I think I only put the poll out to our Twitter voices about 2 hours ago, so there's not been that many. We've had 7 votes coming so far. It's 57% definitely not shit and 43% shit.
Boom.
Well, I think we're just a little bit too nice, I think. So, Ian, what have you been watching this week?
What have I been watching? All right. I'm just finishing off some pizza. Tangent. It's my first frozen pizza in a good long while. It was a bit of an emergency tea situation tonight. Frozen pizza can get fucked.
No, frozen pizza. Frozen pizza. I prefer.
Right. Fresh pizza, lovely, cooked really quickly, lovely and soft. Frozen pizza, the toppings kind of seem to just kind of fall off. The base is just a bit spongy and a bit damp. And it does the job. The thing is, as is the parlance of accepted society, the worst pizza is still above your minimum required enjoyment level for food.
Well, it is, isn't it? It's the thing, isn't it? There's no such thing as bad pizza, a bad blowjob, or a bad donut.
Yes, I'd agree with that. The thing is, I've just finished this bit, and there was, the last of it, and there was dough, but no topping, and it was just a bit wet. And that was a bad ending to a pizza.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
That's not a great ending to a pizza.
No, the whole thing overall was a 6 out of 10. So it's a mild recommend. It's definitely not shit, but it's close to touching cloth on my personal scale.
Which isn't good when it's something you've ingested.
No, and it's pizza. It's something you shouldn't have every day. And I kind of only really allowed myself to have it because I went on that run this morning. And it's undone all the good work from that run, but fuck it, I'm tired. And, that's it. So I'm just going to wash it down with a nice bit of bourbon, a nice bit of Coke, and then we're going to get cracking on this mother. So, talking about The Rock, I rewatched Hercules.
All right, yeah.
Which we reviewed on a show a couple years back.
Yep.
And it's on Netflix, and remains really fun. I think it's probably Brett Ratner's best film. It's pacey. I like the fact that it never gives a definitive answer as to whether Hercules is actually a demigod or not. It kind of. I suppose it kind of does, because in the start, actually thinking about it, you see him as a kid and he's choking out some snakes and he's like 3. So maybe that's something. But it also has one of the... I forgot the last line of the film. But the last line, I tweeted it. And I'm just going to pull it up because I forgot about this. I don't even remember mentioning it on the show originally. But it's Ian McShane in a voiceover. Now... Come on. Right, so that was Monday. Yeah. Ian McShane, kind of talking about the legend and whatnot, and how he prefers the real story. And he says, but what do I know? I'm supposed to be dead by now. Which I think is a pretty great last line for a film.
Yeah, I don't remember that bit.
Because Ian McShane has a subplot of how he's foreseen his death and he's waiting for his death and it just never happens. So there's that. And The Rock's really charming in it. The action's pretty great, and it's 95 minutes long. It kind of gets in, gets out. I would have watched the sequel, no problem. And I noticed as well, actually, Kevin Hart actually refers to The Rock in Central Intelligence as Hercules at some point, which I thought was fun. But yeah, that film just seemed to get forgotten, and I don't think it quite deserves that. It's fun. It's fun. The production value is all there as well. It looks great. So. Yeah, Hercules. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix UK. It'll only take an hour and a half or so. Well worth it. On Mubi, I watched something. I watched Stalag 17, which is directed by Billy Wilder from, I think, 1953, I want to say. And it's... basically set in a prisoner of war camp during World War II, where it's essentially the day-to-day comedic shenanigans of a bunch of POWs mixed with a very serious traitor in our midst plot, where
a man is suspected of being a traitor, like basically selling secrets to the Nazis, but is he or is he not? But it's mixed with this kind of like comedy knockabout stuff about two of the guys trying to like sneak into a woman's camp and a general like pissing about as well. So it's a really interesting mix of the of two different genres, and it works really well. And considering that it was like from 1953, you know, not that far removed from World War II, but they're already putting in like comedy into this stuff as well. It was really impressive. I loved it. 2 hours absolutely flies by, and there's a sequence which reveals a plot twist, which is all done in one take, and it's this celebration, but then you notice something in the background and it's kind of shown more and more, and then it becomes rather upsetting because of what is revealed juxtaposed against this like drunken celebration, and it's really, really masterful direction, which is not a surprise with Billy Wilder. So yeah, it's not on movie anymore now. It expired last week. But Stalag 17, it's really, really, really worth a watch. Have you seen it?
I've not, no, unfortunately, no. But I'm going to sort of track it down and try and get it watched in the next few weeks, actually, because it does sound really quite good, actually.
Yeah, no, you should, man. It's a great piece of work. So I watched The Programme, which is on Amazon Prime now. Which a friend of the show, Bradley Porter, worked on. So it's always nice to see his name in credits. And so for those who don't know, it's basically a dramatisation of the Lance Armstrong kind of scandal, going from him starting to cycle through to the Oprah Winfrey interview, essentially. And it follows him, but also Chris O'Dowd, who played the journalist who kind of doubted him early on but then got sued and blah, blah, blah. To be honest, if you want to watch a film about this story, watch The Armstrong Lie, the Alex Gibney documentary. But this is fine. Ben Foster is very good. Dennis Menashe, who played the farmer that Christoph Waltz interrogates at the start of Inglourious Bastards, and is in Brad's short film, which is going to be out later in the year, Miracle on Canary Wharf. You've seen that, haven't you?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's very good, actually.
So Dennis Menashe is also in that. But,
I'm listening.
Oh, shit.
Sorry, my Siri just decided to start talking.
Oh, fair play, sorry. It's... I mean, the acting is very good, but I don't know, it's only like an hour and 40 minutes long, and it kind of feels like it's rushing through a lot of stuff. Like, Armstrong's... There's a scene where Armstrong is basically come onto by a girl, and then it cuts to them being married, and then I don't think you ever see her again. And it's a little bit like, right, okay, so we're not going to have... I suppose it's kind of nice in a way that we don't have the scene where the wife kind of like interrogates him for using drugs or whatever, but again, it's like, well, what was the point of that then? And Chris O'Dowd as the journalist, it's basically... He likes Armstrong, he suspects Armstrong, he accuses Armstrong, he's sued by Armstrong, he's vindicated, done. That's it. It's very, very bare bones. It all feels unnecessary. Like, I don't know when production started in terms of the timeline of when the Gibney documentary came out, but the Armstrong Lie is really interesting mainly because it's Gibney was filming Armstrong's his coming back from cancer and like his work with Livestrong and stuff, like his charity and stuff like that, and then like all the stuff kicks off, and then Armstrong is interviewed by Gibney after, and it's Gibney talking about how he felt kind of personally betrayed and all that stuff, and there's a really interesting personal angle to it. But this is just, here you go, this is what happened.
Yeah, I've not seen it yet, so I can't comment, but I did look at it and think, it seems like they've rushed to tell a story while it was still hot.
Yeah,
at the detriment of the story.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And I mean, which is a shame, because Ben Foster obviously worked his fucking balls off And I wish it was better material. Screenplays by John Hodge, who wrote Trainspotting, well, the screenplay for Trainspotting, and I think he wrote Shallow Grave. And I expect better, to be honest. It mildly disappointing, but it's on Amazon Prime. It's 100 minutes. It's worth it for the performances, but mildly disappointing. A couple other things on Mubi, and it literally expires tonight. So you're fucked if you listen to this. But Murder by Death, which really, really interesting thing. It's basically Clue, but with like homages to fake detectives instead of characters from Cluedo.
Okay.
So this is the one that I sent you the image from WhatsApp of Truman Capote in a moose head.
Yes.
So it's basically Peter Falk is doing like Humphrey Bogart in a film, and David Niven is doing a like charismatic, suave English detective. There are other famous people in it, but my mind is going really, really blank. Maggie Smith's in it, and like, I don't know, this film's like 30 years old, and Maggie Smith already seems like she's slightly getting on a bit, and it just makes you think, shit, Maggie Smith cannot be with us that much longer. A bunch of detectives are invited by a mysterious rich man played by Truman Capote to his mansion for dinner and a murder, where Truman Capote basically says, at the stroke of midnight, one of you is going to murder somebody else in this room, and you're not going to be able to solve it. And this is going to prove that I am the greatest, like, criminal mind, that I have been able to devise something so fiendish. But it turns into Truman Capote, like, in a moose head, and really silly knockabout jokes and puns for an hour and a half, and slightly racist interpretations of Chinamen. Actually, Chinaman's not really an accepted term. Chinese men, but he is a Chinaman in the context of this film, if you get what I mean, like the stereotype. I quite enjoyed it. It's mental, and I don't know what Truman Capote won a Golden Globe for his performance. Which is quite something, because it literally seems like he's reading his lines just off camera for every single line.
Which he probably was.
But hey. But I quite enjoyed it. I watched it with a bit of a hangover, and it was an hour and a half of fun, and the ending was pretty solid. It almost does the Clue thing of almost multiple endings as well. It's it was, I don't know, it was an interesting watch. I recommend it, but only if you're of a certain comic persuasion.
Fair enough.
And lastly, I started my look through Akira Kurosawa's filmography, which I'm planning on doing articles on the on dudeandthemonkey.com for. So this was Shanshiro Sugata, is how I'm going with it. Which I enjoyed, even though the film says at the start that it was edited because of the Japanese government's wartime entertainment policies, and that Toho Film Company couldn't restore the original footage. So the version that I watched, I haven't done enough reading up about it at this time. I literally finished watching it today. But it seemed to suggest that this was the only surviving version that there was. And there seems to be quite a sizable chunk taken out of it, which is explained in on-screen text, but there's a female character who comes into it who feels like she would have been a much bigger part of it if this footage was in there, maybe. So basically, it concerns a judo practitioner, Shanshiro, who basically starts practicing judo under a master, and he's young and kind of pig-headed and arrogant and fiery-tempered, and he basically has to learn to be chill, yet still kick ass. And that's it, really. It's only an hour and 18 minutes long, but you can already see Kurosawa's eye in this. Like, within the first 5 minutes, you've got really interesting stuff where shots are told as if you're the person and someone's talking at you. And the battle scenes are really well staged. Like, it's quite, you get wide shots that feel in the mind's eye that like they're larger than the 4:3 frame than they actually are. But because, I don't know, just because it's so cinematic and sweeping, quite literally at the end there's a lot of wind going on, that it feels like it's more Leone-esque. I enjoyed it more for its cinematic flair, which for a film that's like getting on for 75 years old is a hell of a thing to say, than its story. Though I did like Shanshiro himself. He's got a bit of the Lon Chaney in The Wolfman, kind of almost lovable big guy who almost doesn't know his own strength at times. And Takashi Shimura is in it as well as an older practitioner who Sanshiro fights at one point, but they have quite a loving relationship towards the end of the film. And I mean, you've seen this, haven't you?
I have seen it, yeah.
Yeah, what did you think?
I really enjoyed it as like an intro to, not as an intro to Kurosawa. As like Kurosawa's sort of first film, you can tell that there is the building work, certainly, of somebody who is going to go on to do better things and going to do really good things. There's some really nice shots, there's some really nice sort of quite wide shots, and the frame is there, and it works well as a film. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and it's certainly, if you're going to categorise, if you're going to list Kurosawa's movies in order, it would be towards sort of the bottom. But it's still a really, really interesting watch, mainly because the interactions are very good, and the kind of the sort of little flickering tensions that are there are very nice, and you can see quite simply where the level of where Kurosawa was an influence on people like Sergio Leone. You can see it as far back as this.
Totally.
And, you know, when you consider that the people that he's influenced, one of the things that is really, you can go back to with Kurosawa is, although certain people might not have watched a lot of his movies or anything like that, you wouldn't have films like they are now had it not been for the work of someone like Kurosawa. That's what is so interesting about going back and watching some of his early stuff, and especially not just his earlier stuff, but watching stuff that isn't, you know, things like, for instance, Seven Samurai and Rashomon and, you know, the big movies, the movies that, you know, that a lot of people know, etc. You know, your Jimbo and things like that. They're fantastic movies, and they are up there with his best movies, without question. That's the reason why they're lauded. But what's interesting going back and because I did this very similar thing that you're doing a number of years ago, and I bought a Kurosawa, the Kurosawa box set that they brought out, and I went through them all then in order, and so it was interesting, sort of getting the ones that you weren't expecting, that you were maybe going, do you know what? I'm going to watch this, but I'm actually looking forward to the next movie I'm watching, and then going, oh, holy shit, this is brilliant.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm pumped. I've seen a lot of the big hitters, but not absolutely all of them, so I'm really looking forward to going back through them, and I'm going to watch all of them.
So you've got the Most Beautiful next, I think, haven't you?
That sounds right, actually. I think it's a little while until I'm actually going to start getting to the ones he's most known for. I'm particularly looking forward to rewatching High and Low, which is fucking great.
Yes,
I'm looking forward to rewatching all the ones that I've watched before. But yeah, High and Low, I particularly, just because it's not one of the ones that's talked about all that often. But fuck it, I'll talk about it in coming weeks.
Yeah, I mean, my one that I'm looking forward to seeing what you've seen, out of a lot of obviously the big ones, but is the Lower Depths, which is fantastic.
Cool.
I was blown away by that.
Nice. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, and I hope people do get a chance to check out the articles once I get them written. I'll have the first one up this week.
Sweet.
That's it for me. Crack on, bud.
Cool. I'll rattle through mine, then we'll do a quick bit on Independence Day. The other week I bought the Rocky soundtrack, and was listening to it while we were eating dinner the other night, and then decided.
I wish I ate dinner at your house. Sorry.
Huh?
I wish I ate dinner at your house.
Well, we all sort of sit around. We try and do it at least sort of 5 nights a week. We all try to have dinner at the same time and a table, and we've got the record player in the corner, so it's whatever goes on. And that night it happened to be we put the Rocky IV soundtrack on. Duper. So me and Becky decided, you know what? Okay, we're going to watch Rocky IV on that night. It's still fantastic, Rocky IV. Every time you watch it, it's a sort of movie where I think if I watched it once a year, it might start to wear me down a little bit. But if I do it when I watch it like every 2-3 years, like I do, it still has all its impact and it still works. And you still find yourself, and I've watched this movie dozens of times, but I still find myself getting to the edge of my seat when the fight's starting and getting all emotional when No Easy Way Out montage starts. And it's great the fact that from the moment where Rocky announces that he's going to fight in Russia to the end of the movie, or from there to really to the end of the movie, it's just a collection of montages strung together by a couple of little scenes.
Yeah.
And that's
God, yeah, no, I mean, you've got the bit where Rocky goes to leave to train, and it's the one montage, and then Adrian comes and surprises him, and it goes straight into Hearts on Fire.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have Rocky, Adrian telling Rocky, and one thing that is always comes across in the Rocky films is how much of a fucking downer Adrian is. She's such a dick.
Oh no, yeah, because she's like, "Oh, don't do it, Rocky, don't do it," and then he leaves, and it's
because she's like, you can't win, you can't win. He's like, well, I've got to try, and then you get No Easy Way Out montage, and then you get. It goes into another montage, and then it goes into Hearts on Fire montage. And then the fight is essentially a montage of fight scenes. And then the film ends with Rocky ending the Cold War, which is now imprinted as my version of history, if that's what happened. Rocky ended. Whether or not it was real or not, he did. Russians watched it and went, you know what? We're not too different. Americans watched it and went, you know what? If Rocky can forgive him, then we can forgive him.
I mean, if it wasn't Rocky IV, it would be embarrassing. But it's Rocky IV.
It just works. It's an incredible soundtrack, and it's just a brilliant movie. It gets away with it, like you say, by being Rocky IV.
Oh, mate, I mean, it's got Happy Birthday Polly.
Yep.
Hang on, didn't we do a commentary for this?
I think we did, yeah.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah. I know we did it, because we did all the Rocky films, didn't we?
Fuck. But I literally think... Oh, man, I'm going to have to look this up now.
I think you have to look it up. Right, I'll go through what else
do it.
I watched Narc, Joe Cannon's proper first movie. And I haven't watched this since I accidentally bought this, Narc. And in saying that I accidentally bought it...
Oh, what the fuck? We did a commentary for Rocky V.
Rocky V, did we? Wow.
I don't even... I mean,
It says drunk commentary. I don't remember that.
I think I do, actually. I'm going to have to listen back to that, actually.
March 2013, we did a commentary of Rocky V.
Oh, man. I bet that's great to listen to.
Bloody hell.
I think I do remember that, actually, yeah. Narc, I accidentally bought in the fact that I was in a rush and I was in Asda, and I went to pick something else up off the shelf that I'd seen, and I threw it in the basket, and then when we got to the checkout, I said to Bex, I need to go to the toilet, I am busting for the loo, can you put this through and I'll meet you in the car? And then it wasn't until I got home and I unpacked the shopping and went, what the hell's that? And it was Narc, and I picked up the wrong movie.
Oh, well, still.
So I thought, fuck it. It sounds quite good, actually. So watched it, and that was in sort of 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, that's fucking fantastic. So it's been a good sort of 10, 12 years since I watched it. And still a huge Carnahan fan. I know we both are. And we talk about it, quite a bit, actually, on the podcast. But yeah, really on Jason Patric. Also, Busta Rhymes is in it as well.
I don't remember that. Shit, okay.
Yeah, so you've seen that, then, haven't you?
Yeah, I've seen Mark. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, for anyone who hasn't seen it, Jason Patric plays an undercover narcotics agent who, at the start of the movie, he's chasing down a drug dealer, and this isn't a spoiler because it happens in the fucking first 3 or 4 minutes of the film. He shoots the guy, but as he's shooting the guy, he accidentally shoots a pregnant woman. And so he kind of leaves the force. They're not quite saying it's his fault, but it's kind of, look, we don't know whether we blame you or not, but what we will say is we can't have you on the force. He's then given an opportunity to get back on the force by looking at and investigating the murder of a fellow police officer. And he states, well, I can only do it if this Henry Oak guy, who's been doing the investigation before me, is back on board with it. And it turns out that Ray Liotta's character, Henry Oak, has a little bit more to do with it than you might imagine. It's gritty as fuck. Literally, you have to keep blinking to get bits of grit out of your eyes throughout the entire movie. There's a lot of shaky cam. You can actually, when you're watching it, you can actually see that it did have a bit of a troubled sort of production, and it ran into budgeting problems. And I think that Patrick and Ray Liotta ended up kind of foregoing, I think, half their salaries for the movie just to get it made. That Ray Liotta said it was literally, he said the choice was either the movie shuts down and Joe Carnahan probably never gets a career, or me and Jason kind of work for nothing, effectively. He said, normally, fuck it, it's a studio movie, normally I wouldn't have done it. He said, but I really like Joe, he's a really good guy, and he was making a really good movie, so we kind of had to do it. And Jason Patric and Ray Liotta are both fantastic. There's an interrogation scene where, towards the end, where essentially they've got 2 gangbangers strapped to chairs, and Ray Liotta is interrogating him. He goes out of the room, and Jason Patric starts re-interrogating him to try and find out what the fuck's going on, and everything seems to be going to shit. And it's a tough watch at points. It's certainly got a lot going on, but thoroughly enjoyed my rewatch of Narc. It's a heck of a movie.
Very nice, man.
So what else did I watch? I'll cover one of the lesser ones now. Not lesser movies, but one of the more lighter movies. I watched the Sam Rockwell and Anna Kendrick movie, Mr. Right, which was written by Max Landis, and also stars Tim Roth.
Yeah.
So Sam Rockwell plays Mr. Right, also known as Francis, who is a hitman. But he's a reverse hitman. He gets hired to kill people, and then he kills the people who have hired him because murder is wrong.
I'm out.
Why?
I just reverse hitman written by Max Landis.
Let me right.
Sell it to me, Mark. Come on.
And I will agree with you. This movie is by no means not perfect. It's 92 minutes long, which is good for it.
It's by no means not perfect.
It's by no means perfect, I mean.
Okay.
But, and you'll like this, the opening credits, how it gives you the title is Sam Rockwell literally dances the title onto the screen.
Is it taking up the whole of the screen?
It's taking up pretty much the whole of the screen, and he dances the title into the screen. And at one point, he actually then reverse dances a little bit, and the title disappears a little bit, and then comes back as he dances. Sam Rockwell's character, right? The reason why he's so good at what he's doing, and he's so good at being a hitman, is because he's worked out that there's a fluidity and there's a movement in everything, and he's worked out how to tap into that fluidity and tap into that movement, so he can quite literally, he can predict where things are going to happen. And he does this by dancing. So he quite literally fight dances people to death. Whilst just being Sam Rockwell.
But, okay, alright, just, is it good? Is it good? Does it actually work?
Yes, because of Sam Rockwell. Because Sam Rockwell is so charismatic and is so enjoyable all of the time that it works. For instance, amongst the gang of people that are trying to kill him, the RZA is one of them. And the RZA's character is called Steve. But Steve seems to have problems with whether or not he actually wants to try and kill Sam Rockwell's character. So Sam Rockwell quite literally just treats him like he's his friend. Okay. And he's like, when he tries to, he's like, I'm really disappointed in you, Steve, but I still like you. And then later on he's like, Steve's at one point he's eating some green bears, like, can I have one of those? Have you got any green ones? And it's just Sam Rockwell and just the ultimate charisma machine that he is. Just every time you're thinking, this film's dumb. Yeah. This film is dumb and it doesn't make sense. And I don't know what he's dancing. There we go. All right, he's dancing. Just starts to just get back on you. It's a thoroughly watchable 7 out of 10.
How's Kendrick? Because I know you're not a massive fan of hers.
Pal?
How's Kendrick?
She's Anna Kendrick in it.
Yeah, no.
She's the same in everything. I'm not a massive fan of Anna Kendrick. And had this been anybody else but Rockwell in the title role, I think I'd have probably despised it, to be honest. But it's not. It's Sam Rockwell. And Tim Roth plays the main guy who's hunting him down. And he's also very, very good in it.
Okay.
He just plays a dick.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say it's worth a watch, because I think if you don't get on with Rockwell, then I think there's something wrong with you.
I'm inclined to agree with that.
Yeah. I also watched Demolition, the Jake Gyllenhaal one. This is
you were looking forward to this as well, weren't you? Yes.
I was very much looking forward to this because Jake Gyllenhaal currently is, I think, he's on fire. I think he's doing some really interesting, really fantastic work. And this is absolutely my wheelhouse. This is a man being broken down. But there's more to this than just what it seems like in the trailer, which is a guy. The trailer makes it seem like this is a movie about a guy who his wife dies, and it makes him reassess his life. And in reassessing his life, he gets new kind of clarity on his life. And it kind of is that. But what it's actually is happening is he's essentially having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, sure.
His wife dies. He then kind of goes into this state that he then thinks he's always been in. He thinks he's always been not been able to notice things that are going on, that he's been coasting through life. And so, starting the movie, his wife dies in a car accident, and he's in the car at the same time, and he's completely kind of unharmed by it, essentially. And then he goes to buy some peanut M&Ms from a vending machine, and the vending machine doesn't give him his M&Ms, so he writes to the vending company. But he doesn't just write to the vending company saying, I didn't get my M&Ms. It's kind of, he uses it as almost like a therapy process of writing down, what's happened and everything like that. And then Naomi Watts' character works the vending machine company, then starts getting in touch with him. And they end up having a relationship, but not that type of relationship. And he becomes sort of almost like a sort of father to Kate and things like that. And there's a lot of really interesting things going on. And as it's going through, you are watching it going, this is, he becomes obsessed with taking things apart. Because that's the idea, is he's taking his life apart and he's re-looking at it. But then you do start to realise that he's just going further and further down the fucking rabbit hole into just this desperate state. And then he realises, obviously, that this is all part of the process, and it's quite heartbreaking at points. And there's a lot of kind of like gut punches in it. There's bits in it where things come out of nowhere, where you go, shit, did not see that coming. And then then later on something will happen. You'll go, that's going to be related to blah, and then it's not. So everywhere you think it's going to go, it doesn't quite go there. It's a really interesting film, and Gyllenhaal is fantastic in it. He's really is on top form again. Naomi Watts is a little bit too. She plays her character a little bit too flaky, and Chris Cooper is essentially doing the Chris Cooper thing that he does. But it's definitely worth a watch. I was very impressed by it, and it wasn't quite what I was expecting. Wasn't quite what I was expecting, but it was very, very good indeed.
'Tis on the list.
Yeah, I don't watch it, but yeah, there's a few moments where towards where he starts to realise that the path that he's going on isn't as great as he thought it was. There's a few moments in that shake you. One in particular that I won't know what it is. There's one in particular moment where you go, shit.
Okay.
So yeah, but I definitely recommend Demolition. Absolutely. At the moment, it's probably going to show my top 10 of the year, I would think.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
And finally, the final movie that I watched this week, I finally watched Dirty Grandpa.
Go on.
A movie that I was very, very much looking forward to.
Yeah,
I watched it yesterday afternoon because it just seemed like a movie that you had to watch on an afternoon rather than an evening.
Hang on. I just need to check something. Don, I'm probably about to swear really heavily at Mark. Lottie can't hear me, can she? Okay, alright. Go on, Mark.
Have you seen this yet?
No.
Right. So, Dirty Grandpa, for anyone who doesn't know the plot, eventually Robert De Niro's wife dies. They always used to go at this certain week to their holiday home in Boca in Florida. And they were scheduled to go what would be the day after his wife's funeral. He decides he still wants to go. And Dermot Mulroney, who is his son, says, well, no, I don't think you should go. And he says, no, I still want to go, but I can't drive because, the DMV took my license off me because he's got cataracts. So he says he wants Jason, who's Zac Efron's character. He wants Jason to take him. He wants to spend a bit of time with his grandson because he's hardly seen him for years. So he wants him to take it. And then he keeps using the "it's what she would have wanted" line, and he knows he's using it to be an arsehole. So the next morning, Zac Efron, who is a corporate lawyer, works for his dad's firm, and is in a week's time about to get married to Julianne Hough's character, and he's totally fucking henpecked. He turns up and De Niro is already a little bit drunk and he's jacking off, and he's just fucking swearing like a motherfucker. And then it just descends into essentially what the trailer gives you, which is them trying to drive to Boca, but De Niro's character insisting they go to Daytona because he wants to have sex with Aubrey Plaza's character. And that's it. That is the story. Apart from there's little sort of bits where Zac Efron keeps getting arrested and keeps on having his clothes taken off him. He keeps randomly getting given drugs that he doesn't know he's taking. So at one point, Jason Mantzoukas, he was in it a lot more than I thought he was going to be.
Is he the beardy dude?
Huh?
Is he the beardy guy?
Yeah, he is, yeah. Which, if anyone watches the League, he essentially is playing Raffi from the League. He is playing the same character, but he's called Pam. Which there's a great line there. You're not going to watch it, so I'll say in the line. A great line, he goes, my name's Pam, and then both look at him, De Niro and Zac Efron's character both look at him and go, really, Pam? And he goes, yeah, it's a nickname, it's a shortening of it. And they go, alright, what's the real name? He goes, it's Pamela.
That's a great line, Mark.
That is the kind of comedy that is in this film. I don't know how this film got made, because it's just weird. It's so weird that this is Zac Efron and Robert De Niro. Not as much weird that it's Zac Efron, but weird that it's De Niro. But De Niro seeming like he is having an absolute blast with this movie. Do you know what? It's not a good movie. It is not a good movie.
Of course it's not a good
but
movie.
I enjoyed it.
Am I going to need to see this, and then we'll just both get hammered and hash it out?
Maybe, yeah. Because you will call me an idiot. Because I know for a fact that this won't be the only time I watch this movie. I will watch this movie again.
Right, I think you, me, and Noel are going to be getting together for the Carpenter gig in October.
Yeah.
And a good amount of drinking is going to be done on the Saturday beforehand. And I think we might have to hash it out with Noel being the impartial referee who hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
And we'll see whose argument is more persuasive. I mean, if anyone is going to be in Manchester at that time, I'm almost thinking of inviting people to just watch.
It could be quite amusing, because I get quite defensive over De Niro and now Efron, who I have developed a total love for. I do think Zac Efron is a fantastic comedic presence, and he's great playing the kind of straight guy within this. There's a great moment where he's asking for a pair of pants while he's in prison, and they're saying to him, right, you've got two choices, either blood or semen. And he goes, I'll take the blood. And so they throw him the semen-covered ones. And he wears a crop top, loads in it, for no reason at all. It's literally just like the makers of the film have gone, we need to have you in not a lot of clothes as long as we can.
The thing is, I'm thinking now, because we know that my sense of comedy is suspect.
Yeah.
So might it be that I actually enjoy this also?
There's a possibility that you might go, do you know what, that was shit, but I kind of enjoyed it.
I'm very, very worried that might happen. I'm very concerned about this.
It should be. Some of the lines that De Niro comes out with are just fantastic. And Danny Glover has a cameo in it where he's literally in it for 30 seconds and all he does is call Zac Efron a lesbian.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to like it. I think we're safe.
Right. So very quickly, Ian, Independence Day 2. We did cover it last week, but that didn't happen. So what did we think of it? Over a week, has your opinion changed a little bit? Has it softened or has it hardened?
Not really. I mean, it's I don't know. It kind of is what it is, really. It's not very good, but it's fun in parts. I have a lot of time for the original, and I don't have a lot of time for this one.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's all right. It's not as terrible as everyone says. The first The first hour, I think, is actually really quite good, actually. I think the first hour is entertaining. The second hour is... It starts to look more like Starship Troopers, but doesn't have the thing that Starship Troopers has of knowing what type of film it is.
Yeah,
Starship Troopers is intentionally doing what it's doing. Independence Day is doing it kind of by accident.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's I don't know. I mean, like the older the cast from the first one are fine, even though it does make me laugh that Vivica A. Fox was in this. Tangent. I just realized, are you in a rush or anything? Or?
No.
Right. The Academy last week basically announced their new list of members.
All right.
And in a push for racial diversity and for youth, they have invited a number of people, and I slightly wonder. I mean, apparently the criteria is that like they have to be nominated by someone else, and then the Academy has to kind of agree on it. And I think folks like Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan are absolutely, yep, that's absolutely fine, totally. Vivica A. Fox, Marlon and Damon Wayans, and the person who directed The Diary of a Teenage Girl, Marianne Heller, I think I want to say her name is. That was the only film she directed, and it was a film festival hit, and that was about it.
Yeah, I noticed John Boyega has been asked as well.
Yeah,
which I have no problem with John Boyega, but isn't that a little bit soon?
Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, there are a lot of people who are being nominated for the Academy or are being accepted into the Academy now who you kind of thought would already be in there.
Like Bruce Greenwood.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, like, a jobbing actor, been around for bloody ages. And I mean, to be fair, to an extent, Damon Wayans, I mean, for what he has done for black cinema, I think is absolutely, deserving of a place.
Yeah.
Marlon Wayans? I mean, like, his work in A Haunted House 2 is scripture at this point for me. But really, I want to know. Okay, people get nominated, but where it goes from there, and I think absolutely a push for diversity is absolutely is brilliant. But I mean, then again, I mean, let's. I mean, I'm looking at the list now. Kate Beckinsale. Okay. Rose Byrne. I like Rose Byrne. Okay. Andrew Garfield.
Cliff Curtis is an interesting one.
Yeah, Cliff Curtis. I mean, again, jobbing actor. Carla Gugino. Good on her.
Yeah. Luis Guzman. Finally.
Yeah, there you go. Dakota Johnson.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I have no problem with Dakota Johnson, but maybe that should be 10 years down the line. O'Shea Jackson has been in, 2-3 movies?
Yeah. Oh, no, hang on. O'Shea Ice Cube Jackson.
Yeah.
No, Ice Cube.
Oh, no, it's Ice Cube. Oh, I thought it was...
Ice Cube, yeah. I mean, Nate Parker, who... The Birth of a Nation is probably going to be a very big deal at the Oscars next year.
But...
What had he done before then? That already kind of feels like it's I don't know, it's kind of like just saying Martin Starr.
That's a strange one, that one.
Yeah, it's a little. So that's the thing. I'm trying to say it's not just the diversity thing, which is I mean, it is absolutely fair enough, and I mean, the Academy is a ridiculous percentage old white men. You know, it obviously needs to change.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels like going maybe too far the other way this year in terms of just absolutely getting these people on. Even though I was listening to Little Gold Men, the Vanity Fair podcast, which deals with the award season, but they're weekly still, and they were saying that even with this, the percentage of Black Academy members has only gone up like 2% or something stupid like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, they couldn't do a blanket. Let's try and get it up to 15-25% or something like that. Could they? They couldn't do that because it would have looked too obvious and would have been a little bit kind of galling, really, to be honest. If they'd have done that, they'd have been throwing anybody a bone.
I mean, Byung-Hun Lee is now a member of the Academy.
I could see the reason for that being why, though, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I could with something like that because you know he's done quite a bit of work and he's been around for a number of years. It's more the ones that kind of stand out to me a little bit are the ones, for instance, like John Boyega, who I have nothing against, but it just seems like that's very soon. Even to an extent, Hiddleston seems a little bit soon.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's a point for that. The Mario Heller one. I mean, I didn't like The Diary of a Teenage Girl all that much, and I admit that. But that feels weird. That she's directed one film and she's now a member of the Academy.
That feels like somebody knows her.
Well, yeah. I mean, Anna Lily Amirpour, from who directed A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Again, that it just feels like, okay, that was one film that was very, very big on the indie circuit, and I mean, but then again, I mean, like Anne Fletcher, who directed The Proposal, it kind of feels like, fair enough that she kind of feels like she should have been in it beforehand. She's been around for fucking ages.
Yeah, Ken Loach.
Yeah, there you go. You know, there you go. Yeah,
Here's one for you then. Sam Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
Who's directed Nowhere Boy and 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, there you go. But then again, James Wan. Which is, which is awesome that James Wan is a member of the Academy, but yeah.
But then again, he's making interesting films year on year.
I mean, Nicholas Winding Refn's in there now. And,
the Wachowskis.
Yeah, the Wachowskis. So there you go. It's the actor one just seems a bit. Let's get young people. You know, I mean that I don't know, and maybe it's because they have the most visibility when it comes to press releases or something like that. Maybe yeah. I don't know, but I don't know. That's interesting. But then,
J. Blige.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised that people who have been nominated or won are not automatically given membership.
Oh my God, Will I Am.
There you go.
Will I Am.
There you go.
Fucking member of the Academy. Let's set fire to the whole fucking thing.
But the fact that people who have won or have been nominated aren't necessarily members. Mark Rylance, how was he not just
how was he not born a member?
Yeah, or is this list actually taking that into account? Because thinking about it, Brie Larson's in here. Brie Larson's in it this year.
There's people who've been nominated before who were on this list. I'm sure there is.
Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, there probably are. Yeah, it just that.
The thing is, I thought that, I'm wrong, but I always thought they were. I thought once you got nominated, you were automatically a member from that moment.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, Lexi Alexander, I'm only pointing out women here. I feel terrible.
Chauvinist bastard.
No, but I mean, Scott Cooper. But then again, he directed Crazy Heart. No, fuck that. Actually, no. Scott Cooper. I don't think he has any place in this list.
Boris Chestnut.
Yeah.
Which I can, I'm not saying not it's surprised to see his name in that, but he probably thoroughly deserves it. I mean, when you go through, you look at it going, do you know what? Yes, that person actually deserves it. Rachel McAdams, for instance, deserves it. She's been knocking around for 15, 16 years now and has paid her fucking dues. But yeah, there are some weird ones.
What do the stars by their names mean?
I don't know. Let's go down to the bottom.
Hang on. 18 individuals have been invited to join the Academy by multiple branches. These individuals must select one branch upon accepting membership. That's
yeah. So, for instance, Ryan Coogler has been nominated as a writer and director. Tina Fey. Alex Garland.
I mean, well, the thing is, Alex Garland got nominated last year, so there's a point to that.
Drew Goddard.
But, I mean, Tina Fey, what has she done in film? And this is supposed to be... Yes, I am very much prejudiced against TV in this argument, but what has she particularly done in film? I mean, well, she wrote Mean Girls.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, she wrote Mean Girls, and she's been in, some mildly successful middle-of-the-road comedies.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. It's... how the fuck did we get onto this?
I don't know, but it's been quite interesting.
But it just...
James Hong.
James Hong?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, I missed that.
James Hong, right?
Will.i.am, yeah.
How old is James Hong now, though? I bet he's going to be younger than I actually think he is. I'm going to look now at how old he is, and he's actually going to be loads younger, I reckon.
Oh, man, James Hong's
he's 87 years old, right?
Yeah.
Literally, you are giving him it just so he can be a member of the Academy when he dies.
That is weird.
James Hong has been on the go for a long time. Again, he seems like one that just would have been given it by now.
Fuck, man, that's a lot of people being added.
It is, yeah. It really is.
I mean, it makes you wonder, what the net amount is.
What? In total members?
In terms of, how many members have died this year, which means that they are... That they have to invite this many people. Mariel Heller got nominated by both the writing and directing branch. I'm sorry, that's blowing my mind a little bit, that.
It is weird.
Fuck it, you make one film that does well at Sundance and is critically successful, makes fuck all money, and there you go, you're in the Academy.
Yeah.
That's stunning. That's stunning.
It is a strange one. It does seem to be... The fact that this is news this year is something.
What the hell is members at large?
I think they I don't know, maybe they're ones that have got warrants out on their arrests.
Yeah, man.
That's what it'll be.
Yeah. I do like that Adam McKay is credited as The Big Short and the other guys.
I love the fact that they do seem to have done that with quite a few of them, where they've put a serious one and a not serious one. So, for instance, Andrew Garfield, 99 Homes and The Amazing Spider-Man.
Hey, Richard Kelly got nominated for some reason. Good on him.
Richard Kelly, who even he doesn't remember that he used to be a filmmaker.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so for instance, Eva Mendes, The Place Beyond the Pines, Hitch.
Fuck's sake, that's...
Yeah.
Wow.
There's some interesting things here.
Interesting. I mean, good on them. I hope it has the desired effect.
I hope that this is a pattern that isn't quite as as precedented as this. So next year it won't be to the extreme of this, but they will look at it and go, right, we need to, for the sake of the Academy and for the sake of it not getting boring, we need to make sure that we've got new blood coming in. And not just young blood coming in, new voices. So a Matt Rylance, for instance, there, or, a Luis Guzman and people like that. These are the ones that are as interesting as anybody of getting in, really.
Yeah, no, I mean, my last thing on this, I think surely you should have to have more than one credit in order to qualify for membership to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Scientists. It just, that feels silly to me.
It feels like she knows somebody.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time with that.
Yeah, but I can absolutely agree, to be honest. It does seem like, for instance, if you get nominated as a director, you should have at least directed at least 2 or 3 movies.
Yeah. Or a writer, you should have written more than one film. But then again, if I liked The Diary of a Teenage Girl as much as most people who've seen it do, then maybe I'd be all in for it, and maybe I'm a hypocrite. But I don't know. That makes me feel a little uneasy.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit, I don't know.
Easy.
Yeah. A little bit too easy.
Abbas Kiarostami died. Okay. The Palme d'Or winning Iranian filmmaker whose name I recognise. Why do I recognise his name?
Well, Michael Cimino died.
Fuck, yeah, man. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah. That was I mean, let's be honest, he'd not done anything for a number of years and wasn't particularly active anymore. But it is, when you look at...
He directed Certified Copy, sorry. Certified Copy was great. Oh, sorry.
Was great, yeah.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I feel really bad. I have had a few Jack and Cokes, but... shit. Sorry. Yeah, just... Wow. That's sad. Go on, mate. Sorry.
So you were just saying about Michael Cimino. Deer Hunter still ranks in my top 10 movies of all time. We did a Michael Cimino marathon not too long ago, didn't we?
Indeed.
And I thoroughly enjoyed, I think, everything we watched of that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, like Thunderbolt and Lightfoot was a particular surprise to me because I didn't know much about it.
It was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, totally. That was sad, and Robin Hardy as well. It's. I mean, we saw. You were at Fright Fest that year, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good that he still had some spirit. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yes. So, right, we don't have any questions this week.
Well, we filled up that time very nicely anyway.
Yes, we did indeed. Ian, what are we covering next week?
The Neon Demon.
Oh, of course we are, yes. Very nice. Very much looking forward to this one. I will actually also say, I did forget to mention it in what I'm watching, but I rewatched The Lost River as well this week.
How did you find that?
I enjoyed it on first watch, but I really enjoyed it on second watch. It made a lot more sense, and it's still visually quite striking. But the atmosphere of it works a lot better this time round. I think genuinely it's a very good film, to be honest.
Oh, very nice, man. No, I'm going to do me a... I'm going to try and fit in Drive, Valhalla Rising, and Only God Forgives.
Ooh, yeah. I'm going to try and fit in a couple, certainly, before I go and see Neon Demon this weekend at some point. We've also got, hopefully by the time you're listening to this, we'll have launched DoomTheMonkey.com.
Yeah.
So we're not sure how much... We're not going to commit to saying there'll be stuff on there, new stuff every day, or we'll be doing weekly features or anything like that. It will be something where we're looking for contributors if people want to write for it and stuff like that. It's not all going to be film-based.
Particularly for the gaming segment section, because, I don't know, I don't think I'm going to be doing as much in there as I maybe would have done a few weeks back, to be honest, but, yeah.
So yeah, there's also going to be we'll be chatting. The podcast's going to be available on there, or links to the podcast going to be available on there. We'll be chatting film stuff. For instance, Ian's going to put some bits of his Kurosawa bits on.
Cool.
I'm going to put some on there. There might be some games chat on there. We're also going to chat some football on there. So
beers.
That's where I'll be getting stuff off my chest, and there'll be sort of food and drink stuff on there as well. So there'll be beer chat, which I'm sure Ian's going to do, and Noel will probably tip in on that. I will as well. There'll also be some food stuff, which might just be sort of random fucking restaurants for if you're in blah, go visit here, or it might even be actually, look, this is a recipe for blah that I might stick stuff up there, and Ian's welcome to. And like I say, we are looking for people who want to contribute to it. Get in touch. We'd be happy to receive some stuff to get stuff out there. But it's essentially it is as much a place where it's not really much sort of news stuff and stuff like that. It's a place for us just to chat shit and have some place to actually write, and it makes sense of it linked to the podcast itself as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking through the site now, and I mean, even the images that Mark's chosen, because Mark's done all the work on the site. I've done nothing. I'm not even saying that to be like paying compliments to Mark. I've done nothing, and it looks great. Like the picture on the football section is perfection, as is the films one, as is the games one. You know, he's got the Mad Max game on there, which is great, and the food and drink one looks lovely, and yeah, welcome to the madness, says the title page, and I think that's appropriate. It's I think this should be fun.
Yeah, it should be, and that's it. Like I say, we're going to treat it. We're not going to treat it like something like, say, where we're going to commit and say there's going to be all of this going on. It's going to be something that stuff will drop on it, and if we get contributors, that'll be great because it'll put more out there. So if you want to chat football, food, drink, we're literally going to put anything out there. If something pisses us off, we'll put it on there and we'll tack it into one of the fucking sections.
But there's not going to be like any clickbait. It's not going to be like we need to get ad revenue or anything like that. It's all say what you want.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's it. You know, it's the same place where we're going to put stuff, and once it's there and it's out, that's the cathartic process gone. If people read it, great. If they don't, my football stuff, it's at least get it out there.
Yeah. I mean,
so, for instance, this week there'll be a piece that I've written about Roy Hodgson.
Oh fuck yes! I'm looking forward to that.
Which is me getting a lot off my chest.
Yeah, nice. Well, I'm very much looking forward to that.
Cool. So yes, that was episode 166. And thank you very much for listening, guys, and we shall see you next week.
Bye-bye.